So Tom, you've been following the Mueller investigation for quite some time. I mean, it's been dragging on forever, it seems like. What's your theory on this? Why is this going on so long? I mean, it's been almost like 2 years.
Well, it's an abuse. I call it the zombie investigation. They've known for some time there's no Russia collusion, that they're still rampaging through the countryside, snaring people like Roger Stone. It's in many ways silly but troubling. And it's designed to hinder President Trump. Their goal is to overthrow him by removing him from the presidency somehow. And the Democrats on the Mueller team aren't going to let it go.
And do you think the Mueller report should be public?
Well, I don't know if there is a Mueller report. I'm of the belief that there should be no Mueller report anyway. The DOJ, remember, this is the Justice Department, should not be in the business of writing a report on what the president's been doing. We already have one Shady dossier. We don't need another dossier created by the anti-Trumpers on Mueller's team.
And why do you think President Trump hasn't declassified the documents yet?
Well, I think he's been told by his advisors they've been scaring him or trying to scare him with national security concerns, which are fraudulent. The president's deferred to the IG at the Justice Department in terms of whether to release it. So he's being cautious. Contrary to popular belief, he's kind of a cautious man, and he's not going to just release classified material just because we want him to. We think he should listen to others as to whether he does it or not. But he isn't going to go running crazily into releasing classified information without thinking about it carefully.
Do you think
I think it's well past time for him to exercise his discretion to release the information. I can see why he hasn't, but I don't have any good reasons as to why he hasn't. I understand what may be behind it, but we've got to get the information out there. There's no, folks who have read it on the Hill, who have classified clearances, have said there's no classified information that needs to be protected here, and he should take their advice.
And do you think McCabe should be indicted? Some people are calling for that.
Well, indicted for what is the big question. I mean, he's being investigated for lying to FBI investigators and IG investigators. And now I don't know if he did lie or not. It's his word versus James Comey's word. Who do you believe? But I do think there needs to be investigations, and I think prosecutions over the abuse of authority that folks like McCabe exercised in targeting President Trump. They didn't like him personally, and they abused the authorities, the precious, dangerous authorities they have to investigate and spy on individual Americans improperly to target Trump. And when you misuse your office, there's got to be criminal consequences.
Yeah, and then I just want to switch topics really quick and just get your reaction to the national emergency over the border wall. We see that there is a GOP effort pushing back against President Trump's national emergency. I mean, we know that there's a lot of issues going on with the border. It's been an ongoing crisis. So do you agree with the Republicans that are pushing back, or do you support the president on the national emergency?
Well, there's always a small group of Republicans who don't want to do anything to protect the country, especially on immigration. And so I don't want to overstate the Republican opposition to what President Trump did. But there is this kind of groupthink here in Washington that doesn't care about the national emergency that is at the border. And again, going back to my point about the president being cautious, his national emergency declaration just takes a little bit of money and puts it at the border. And there's a whole lot of other money he's moving around that he has discretion to move around without declaring an emergency. So it's a very narrowly crafted national emergency declaration. And from my perspective, the president should be doing more. He should be devoting more resources to security border. Put the military on the border. If it is a national emergency, it should be all hands on deck, and we should get that border secured. We can't wait for a wall. We can't wait for the wall. We've got to have it secured immediately.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.